Hello and welcome to Stampin' by Hannah. Thank you for joining me today. Today I've got these super cute little inch boxes for you. Before we get started, I thought I would just apologise because once again my camera just isn't my friend, and so I'm doing a voiceover again afterwards. So my hands might not match my voice. So these are three super cute little inch boxes. They are all lidded. Except that kind of milk carton style one, but we'll get to that in a little bit. And the other two are both a very similar style of box, but they're just built in completely different ways. So I thought I would show you how I made them. As always, all the links and measurements are in the description in the down bar below. And the links to the products are there as well. So these ones are in the Merry Moments Designer Series paper in our annual catalogue. But today I thought I would use the Season of Cheer Designer Series paper, which I absolutely love. The colours in this are absolutely gorgeous. And they are Christmassy on one side and then quite neutral on the reverse. So you could quite easily use the patterns on the reverse of this paper for birthday cards or thank you notes or something that's just not Christmassy at all. All three boxes are made with the same size of piece of designer series paper. They are all 4.5 by 3 inches, and they're all scored the same as well. So let's get our Simply Scored scoring tool out, and we will start. I will lay out the papers again. I don't know what I was saying here. I cannot remember. I wish that my camera would remind me that I've not got the sound on when I start talking to it, but it doesn't. It's not that bright, unfortunately. So I'm going to score on the long side first at 1, 2, 3 and 4 inches, and then we're going to turn it around on the short side and score at 1 inch and 2 inches. I did consider putting this into metric measurements as well, but it's inches and it's just so straightforward that I have left it at inches rather than converting it into centimetres. So if you're a centimetre person, I am sorry, this one is inches only, but it's so simple to convert in that 1 inch is 2.5 centimetres and work from there. If I can be bothered when I'm typing this up, I will put that in metric measurements on my blog. So that is all three pieces of designer series paper scored, and we are going to fold and burnish them with the bone folder. Now I don't always use my bone folder when I am folding and burnishing, but on DSP, but because they're only little boxes, I decided that you get a much crisper finish when you use your bone folder on designer series paper for small projects. So we've used the bone folder on this one. The original ones, I didn't use my bone folder, I just folded and burnished with my fingers, and I think you can see the difference in that the previous versions gape ever so slightly, and the new ones that I've made in the video don't. So we're just going to finish folding and burnishing, and I've done that to all three pieces. And so we're going to do the milk carton style box first. And you can see on one edge you've got a kind of skinny edge, and you're going to wrap that round so that skinny edge becomes the joining piece, if you like. So we're going to chop off the skinny sections either side of that, leaving the one in the middle. And then we're going to cut up each side. There's 3 inch long score lines just up to that first horizontal score line. I'm going to do that on both sides. And then I'm going to use my fast fuse because it's my absolute favourite adhesive. So you can see there that you've got those 4 inch squares that are all separated. I'll use my fast fuse on this because it's my absolute favourite adhesive. I've also got glue dots there as well for later on. So just fold that to make that a square. That score line then becomes the back of the box. We're going to fold in the 2 sides, the back, and then finally the front. Pop some adhesive onto the front piece before you fold it in, and there you've got your little box. Make sure that you locate the back of your box again, fold in the 2 sides, and then there's 2 the kind of front and back pieces are going to form that milk carton style. This one is with glue dots, and I have a previous one. I have used mini staples, and it's so cute with mini staples, but my mini stapler isn't handy, so I'm using glue dots instead. And excuse me, sorry. I'm going to use my glue dots, and we're going to just pop a glue dot right on the top. And I decided that I would try and zoom this in. So my little glue dot on the end of my poke tool, you can just about see that, I think, and we're going to pop it. Apparently it's going to fall off my poke tool, and then we're going to pop it right in the top, in the middle of that flap. And glue dots are great because they are a pressure sensitive adhesive, so they don't actually stick until you push them together. Now meet those two pieces of design series paper, push, and there is your close. It makes a permanent close, so it's not something you can reopen very easily. You can do it, but it's just not super simple. So that's the first box. Our second box, we're going to make our cute lidded box, the simple version, and I'm going to use this piece of DSP for that. So score lines are exactly the same as the previous one, and we've got that skinny section again, but this time that skinny section is going to form that front flap of our lid. So we're going to cut on the short side, we're going to cut up to the second score line on both sides of that middle section, and just chop that away so that you've got that kind of perfect lid on the front of your box. And I'm really sorry, my phone keeps going off. I'll pop it onto silent, there we go. I'm going to chop up the sides just the same as we did last time, up the sides of just that first score line. So you've now got you've got 3 inch squares on the sides. I'm going to fold the middle ones up and out of the way and pop adhesive on the remaining 4. Again, using my fast fuse just because it's super handy. My fast fuse lives on my desk because I love it so much. You could use snail for this with it being designer series paper. So what we're going to do is the kind of top set of flaps are that form the back of the box. So we're going to attach those to those middle sections first, and then wrap around the other ones to form the front of our box, and that way you get a nice clean front and back. And this is where I made a bit of a boo-boo. My scoring is perfect, but my folding made the box a little bit tight. So to make it fit, to make the lid fit, we're just going to trim it down a little bit. If you look really carefully, you might be able to see that I've cut the wrong side of a score line. So what I'm going to do is just trim that in ever so slightly, and take that score line away. And it still is then a bit too tight, so I'm just going to just chamfer the edges just ever so slightly, so that it will fit. And actually, if you do that, it will fit better that way, and it's a nice perfect close. So that's our second box, and our third box is exactly the same style of box, but it's made in a completely different way. So we've got that lid with the flap that folds into itself. So again, we're going to cut on the short side with that skinny edge. We're going to cut up to the second score line on both sides. So on one side on both score lines, and then there's kind of 2 ways you can go with the next bit. I'm just trimming that again. There we go. So you've got a kind of square now or 9 squares with a bit sticking up of the top. And you can go 2 ways with making this next box. The way we're going to do is we're going to cut with scissors, but you could do this by folding and fold them together to make that really nice close. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut with my paper snips. So we're going to take from the corner into where that the kind of cross of those two score lines is. I'm going to do this on each corner, and then we're going to turn it, we're going to leave it face up and get our glue dots back out again to stick this together. So we're going to put a glue dot in the top left hand corner of each one of the sets of triangles. So you only actually need to put one glue dot per set of triangles. I'm going to turn it and do exactly the same. So glue dot into that top corner. You can add extra glue dots later on if you're not happy with the close of this box, but you only need one glue dot per corner, otherwise you're sticking glue dot to glue dot, and that's just, we don't need that. And I'm of course going off camera here because I have no idea where the camera is because I've zoomed in but not in far enough. So what we're going to do is stick those two triangles together. Oh, I do hope I've got this in shot. So, oh, there we go. So stick the two triangles together face to face, and that will form our box. So from there you can then add extra glue dots in where you can see gapage or a little gap. However, with this particular box, when I've got the lid closed, which of course isn't on camera because I've zoomed in and not paying attention, so there we go. And so once I've got the lid closed on this one, you will see that actually the close is really neat, and part of that is because we've scored with a bone folder, burnished with a bone folder rather than our fingers. You can see the difference there, and part of it is just sheer luck, I think. So they are our cute little inch boxes. Thank you very much for joining me today. As always, all the product links and measurements are available in the down bar below, and I will see you again next time. Thank you ever so much for watching. Bye for now.